Hello, my name is Janine Bressner. I live in Providence, Rhode Island, and this is the first time that I'm using my new studio in Central Falls, Rhode Island, which is the smallest city in the smallest state in the United States. Today I'm going to make a sushi bead of salmon roe, Ikura, and this is for Lisa Maloney, and I'll be demonstrating my technique for doing this, though there are many paths to a similar result. I begin by darting this black glass rod in and out of the flame, and if you've never lampworked before, I suggest that you start with one of the more beginning videos that I or thousands of other people have done, and you can search YouTube for, well, I have one that's called Basic.Bead Part 1, and that explains a lot of the logistics that it's useful to know about for accomplishing a goal like making a glass bead that doesn't crack, that you can later remove from a mandrel. So I am heating this glass rod by darting it in and out of the flame, and now I can see the sodium flare in the flame, but you should not be able to because I put didymium lenses, or a didymium lens, over the lens of the webcam so that the sodium flare in the flame is mostly filtered out, and you'll be able to see this molten glass unobscured by the orange flare that our retinas get burnt out by with too much exposure. Gosh, this sounds scary, but it's just interesting. There's a condition called glassblower's cataract that you can get enough damage from a day's worth of glass blowing. I consider this to be different from glass blowing. I consider this to be torch work or lamp work or flame work, because glass blowing traditionally and conventionally utilizes a furnace or a glory hole as a heat source. And so you've got a 2400 degree Fahrenheit barrel of fire. It's more like staring into the sun for hours at a time. This is a concentrated flame, and it's much cooler, it's much smaller, it's much dimmer, but still it's important to protect your eyes, not just from burning out your retinas, but also from projectiles, because if thermal shock causes the glass to crack, it could go flying in little tripod pieces of glass. Okay, so I start with the black glass because I'm trying to build what would be the body of the piece of sushi, and that is the black seaweed wrapped around an oblong packed form of rice, and then the ikura, the salmon roe, goes on top of it. So I'm going to start by making a black glass bead that is longer, and the placement of the hole determines how the bead is going to hang. In this instance, I want the bead to have a distinct bottom and top, so I'm trying to weight the bottom of the bead. Now I've got it gathered, and I'm going to let it touch my preheated mandrel, and I'm simply spinning the mandrel away from me. At the same time, I'm sort of trying to coax the glass to have a wider footprint on the mandrel. And while the glass is still molten, I'm going to shape it with some dental spatulas. Superheating the glass. And also, I'm going to let gravity marver the glass, or shape the glass, by letting it drip a bit so that it is longer on one side. And I have to work quickly because the liquid is flowing, but I just wanted to show you what I'm trying to accomplish and what it looks like. Also, touching the glass with metal tools cools it down really quickly and causes thermal shock and chill marks in the glass. So each time I manipulate the glass with the metal, or touch them together, I have to reheat the glass again to make sure that it doesn't cool down too quickly and crack. Every time I use a metal tool, before I put it back down on the desk, I like to quench it in water to be sure that I won't burn myself accidentally by touching something that I didn't realize was hot. And also, if I want to continue to use the metal tool and it's hot, touching hot metal to hot glass will cause the two to stick together. Now, you can see that I have established the basic form of the piece of sushi that I'm trying to make, and the bead is heavier on the bottom, and next I'm going to apply a layer of white to the top and bottom, and this is supposed to look like gohan, or rice. Sushi actually just means vinegared rice. I begin by heating the light. And for this I wanted to use a really thin mandrel so that I could be sure that the hole is placed higher towards the top of the piece. Especially because weight is such a concern in how this piece will hang. The ikura, the roe, have to be on top for the piece to make sense, really. Because it is a figurative, realistically representational object that I'm trying to make here. Okay, I don't need to create a whole other gather of the white glass. I've just got this amount that is enough to sort of paint a surface of white on the top, and to do the same on the bottom. And now, while this glass is still melted, I can press it in to cause that shape to spread out a bit and flatten out as well. Maybe you have graphite tools or brass tools. I like using inexpensive and found materials, butter knives, dental tools, household tweezers. I don't really see the point in spending $40 on some brass tool with a handle. I mean, I don't have like terrible arthritis, so it's difficult for me to hold tiny things that I find, so I just use whatever I find. Can you see this? Okay. So see how it's heavier on one side, and I've got white smushed. Boy, this backwards camera stuff is confusing. And I can't have it outside of the flame for too long because I don't want it to crack. And now I've got the basic sushi form established, and on top of it I'm going to put the 7 rail, which will be lots of applied clear orange dots. So I preheat my clear orange, and this is a striking color, so the color that it appears to be right now is not what it will look like once it's been heated and it cools down again. Now I just start in the center, and I touch the two glasses together very delicately, and I try to create a tight, sort of semi-irregular dot pattern, just because I want to try to cover the surface of white on the top of the form with a texture such that the orange really covers up the white. Because if you were eating this, the actual food, you would not likely be able to see the rice through the salmon roe. And here the aim is to, I'm not trying to strike the color yet, I'm just trying to apply the bits of glass. And then I'm going to apply another layer on top irregularly, and not let the forms melt in flat, but just sort of sit on top of each other like those real spheres of 7 row do. I find that I don't need to pull stringer if I manipulate the glass like I pull out thin tips so that already a regular sized glass rod has a very thin end on it. And when I pull the glasses apart, the color that I'm applying, when I pull it away from the base bead, I draw it out slowly and try to leave a thin tip on it so that I can continue to work this way, instead of needing to use a tool to pull a separate stringer. I hope all of this makes sense to you. If it doesn't at all, please feel free to email questions, and hopefully I can answer them. So this is now what it's looking like. I'm sorry, it's difficult to focus this stuff. Whoa. I had my hair in braids for a couple of days, and now I just undid the braids, and it looks like I got a perm, but appearances are superficial anyway. I just think it's something that people should really experiment with more because there's so much potential in it. It's another form of communication that I think is underutilized because so many people just choose to look conventional even though everybody is really an individual. I don't know, it's easier to do more illegal things when you stand out so much maybe. Look at all the white collar crimes. Oh, political commentary. Have you been to Wall Street? Go! Occupy. This video is like years old now. When you're watching it, you don't even know what's going on. Maybe the world's over. Did you build a new world? Did it come out okay? Did we hang out yet? Was it fun? I hope so. Oh my god, I feel like Bob Ross. Happy little squirrel. What the hell are you talking about? I don't know, but I like you. Okay, now I'm going to try to strike these so that you can see the difference that it makes. And then I do this by applying an even heat to all of the surface decorations on the top, and they'll glow. Then I take them out of the heat, and as they cool, I'm just brushing it with the flame lightly so that I'm still seeing that orange glow of the heat in the glass. And as it cools down, it's going to strike and turn this deeper, darker orange. If all of the forms don't do it, that's okay, because I still have to apply more dots, and then I have more opportunities to strike those colors, and some of them will take a second time. But here, you can see that that's the form, flat on the top, flat on the bottom, but with those orange dots. So now what I'm going to do is apply more of these dots. Here I'll also work towards the edges, almost onto the sides of the form, because in real life this is the way that Ikura should look, sort of overflowing with abundance. Ooh, I just got a better idea. Another way that you could go about doing this is to do layers of larger salmon roe on the underside, on the first layer. And this will totally cover up the white space. And then as you build more, you can make finer little beads of orange glass. And by bead, I mean spherical dot. I was just thinking about how to edit this video and realizing I can't edit out the part where my hair fell down, because then people will be like, well, what happened in between? What did she just go and do? I went with gravity. Now I'm trying to strike the rest of the salmon roe. The orange. Just coaxing the color along. Heating it gently, and I can see that the glass is heating up and then it cools down and it's darker. So here you should really be able to see the contrast there. And it's a little bit sloppy, but this is part of the stuff that you have to be careful about when heating the glass, reheating the glass, and shaping it and manipulating it. So to be more precise about it, I could just cover the bottom up with black again and then apply more white, or simply apply black to that edge to sort of to neaten it up. If you have questions or video responses, let me know. It's the internet, we can do that thing. We're both alive at the same time, hopefully. Hopefully you're not seeing this in, like, I don't know, I hope I live a long time. I've got a lot of stuff I want to get done. Okay, now I've heated up the tip of the glass, and I'm going to apply just a little line of black along the bottom edge of this battleship sushi form, as it is called in Japanese, bunkanmaki, I think. I'm gonna have to put my lights on a separate breaker from the kiln. It's kind of annoying, especially if I'm gonna keep doing more videos, which I hope to do, and not just glass ones. All different types. What types? Wait and see. What types of videos are you making? I forgot your dinner, sorry. You know, sometimes you just get so engrossed in what you're doing that everything else kind of goes away. I think that's a type of success, to be able to focus and be kind of enamored of what you're doing. This is the finished demo, and I'm gonna put this, is this focused? I mean, gosh, it's so small, into the kiln that goes, and if you have questions, you can ask them. And don't be a creep, don't be a perv. I'm trying to be serious here and honest and helpful and nice. I appreciate the same. Thank you.